On tap, Ayinger Celebrator.
Better beer authority, better beer.
Hi, I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority. Today, a German beer, Ayinger Celebrator Doppelbock from the Franz Inselkammer Brewery in Aying, Germany. The brewery was started in 1878 and is about 15 miles outside of Munich. Celebrator is a Doppelbock or double bock with 6.7% ABV. Beer writer Michael Jackson describes it as a dark brown to ebony color with soft, rich, coffeeish malt flavors and a figgy dryness in the finish. The brewery claims that this beer is brewed according to Reinheitsgebot, the German purity law of 1516, which means they only use barley, hops, water, and yeast to brew it. In general, a bock is a German lager, but a stronger, darker version brewed especially for spring. A Doppelbock is even stronger. Bocks are usually lightly hopped. The malt drives the flavor. In German, bock means goat. That is why you'll find goats on the labels of many bock beers and a plastic goat hanging around the neck of Celebrator. Adam, tell us a little bit about the flavor of this beer.
You know, the overall flavor I get is like a toasted cinnamon raisin bread. You get some nice toasty bread flavor to it. There is a dried fruit like a raisin or like what Michael Jackson was saying, a fig, but I get more of a raisin flavor to it. Very bready, and there's some maltiness to it, and it's got a really kind of dry, a little bit smoky finish to it.
Joby, did this beer surprise you?
When we were at the store picking this one out, I picked it because it was a bock, a double bock, and you know, normally I would gravitate to those kinds of beers, and you know, it tastes pretty good, kind of right up the lines of what I thought it was going to be. So, surprising, no.
Mark, on the label it said this is brewed according to Reinheitsgebot. Is that important to you?
I'm more of a fan of beers that tend to stray away from that, beers that incorporate other ingredients to have unique tastes. I mean, it's a very solid beer, being that it's brewed under Reinheitsgebot, but to me it's not very important.
Yeah, kind of going off what Mark just said, I mean, just because it's brewed according to that, that's not gonna, for me, not gonna make me buy a beer or not buy a beer. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever said, oh, you know, this beer's brewed according to that, let's get that, because that's, you know.
Well, if you're looking for a true beer, I mean, this is according to the purity laws back in 1516, that this is saying these are the ingredients that are added to beer, and to get that much flavor from just those main ingredients, I think that's very impressive to do.
Well, when you think about the flavors that you're getting out of this beer, I mean, all of you, does this surprise you how many different flavors you're getting, considering it's just barley, hops, water, and yeast?
That's the impressiveness of this specific beer, is that you're taking 4 ingredients and you're making a multi-level flavor profile out of it. I mean, now we do have a lot of craft beers that are out there that you have all these different flavor profiles, but again, they're adding different herbs and spices to get those flavors.
Yeah, I guess.
And this is not. I mean, this is, you can pull that dried fruit, you can pull some sweetness to it, you can pull the maltiness, you can pull all of these different flavors out of it, and just using 4 ingredients, that's impressive.
And the cool thing about that is, it just kind of listening to what you were saying right there almost reminds me of, if you think about wine, different grapes from different regions make different kinds of wine. And similar to this beer, different ingredients from different regions is how they get this unique flavor specifically to the Celebrator for the flavor that they have. Whatever region in Aying, Germany that they pull these ingredients from, that's what we're tasting.
In Germany, this is considered a spring beer. And does this remind you of spring?
Right off the bat, James, it doesn't. It's got that kind of a warming finish, but not as warm as some of the winter warmers that we've had in the past. Spring, in the essence, that right in the beginning of spring, kind of getting into the end of spring where it gets warmer, yes, because you know in the early spring it's a little cold outside and a little chilly, so you wouldn't mind grabbing some of these and warming up with. So, in that essence, yes, but the true nature of a warming beer, I always go back towards, you know, the winter months of when it's, you know, real cold outside, snow on the ground.
Mark, before the show we were talking about like the pronunciation of this beer. What can you tell our audience about what we discovered about the pronunciation of this beer?
From the top of my head, I can't remember who I was talking to, but the ATOR at the end is ator, so Celebrator. So, I mean, it was chilled in the refrigerator, and it's a nice cool beer. We just had to let it warm up for a little bit. It's still nice and tasty.
Well, according to the brewery, or the American distributor, they just say Celebrator. So it's perfectly acceptable to say that in the English version of the word. A lot of people say Celebrator, which they said is fine also. And then in German, they say something like Celebrator, or something to that effect. So, I mean, I think with any three of those pronunciations, you're...
People are going to know what beer you're talking about.
Adam, let's go real quickly around here and get our ratings.
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think this is a solid beer. It's got a lot of flavors, and especially for the, again, going back to those purity laws, going back to the fact that there's only 4 ingredients in this beer. There's a lot of stuff going on with this beer. I would recommend it to pretty much anybody.
Okay, Joby?
Yeah, I'm along the same lines as Adam. I'm an 8. Again, for me, to dumb it down for those BMC drinkers, it's a good tasting beer. It's easy finish. You can have a couple of them and still be all right. And it's memorable. It's got a goat hanging off the bottle. So, of course, you're going to remember it, and you can tell people, go out and try this.
Okay, and Mark?
8.
8. All right. Ayinger Celebrator gets an 8 on the BBA scale. What's your favorite Doppelbock? Have you tried Polliner Salvatore? Let us know in the comments section. Hey beer drinkers, think green. Be good to Mother Earth because we need her to grow our barley and hops. Thanks for watching. I'm James Knott, and this is your Better Beer Authority.
Better Beer Authority. Better Beer Authority. Better Beer Authority.